In Jewish culture and in the Bible, the heart's just not an organ that pumps blood. It is the center of your whole being. It's your will, your emotions, your desires, and your moral compass. Proverbs 4:23 says, to guard your hearts above all else, for it is the source of your life. The Hebrew word for heart is lev, and it means more than just feelings. It is the center core of who you are. So what you think about, what you love, and what you choose all flows from your heart. That's why Jesus said in Matthew 12:34, for the mouth speaks from the overflow of the heart. Your lips will always eventually expose what's inside of you. You can fake it for a while, but sooner or later, your words and your actions will spill out of what your heart has been storing up. Think about it like this. This is how it works. Your eyes and your ears are the doors to your heart. Your heart fills up with what you allow through those doors. Your mind processes it, and then your actions and your mouth speak it out. That's why you can't just say, well, I didn't mean that after you just got done cussing somebody out. You did mean it because it was sitting in your heart before your mouth even let it out. Jesus said in Matthew 15:19, from the heart comes evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual immoralities, theft, false testimonies, and slander. And men, let's be honest, our struggle is often visual, pornography, lust, and looking too long. The image goes into the eyes, it lodges in the heart, and sooner or later, it corrupts everything else. That's why Job said in 31 verse 1, I've made a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully at a young woman. And women, you're not exempt. It's not about porn with you guys, but with fantasies, romance novels, emotional daydreams, and Hallmark movies. They may not watch filth, but they're feeding their hearts with unrealistic love stories that lead to unhappiness and depression with their real marriages or their lives. That's why in today's society, a lot of women will walk away from their marriages and their families because they're unhappy because they fantasize about a man who does not exist. And then they measure their husbands up against that unrealistic fantasy. It's different things, it's different bait, but it's the same hook. The enemy doesn't care which way he fills your heart, as long as he fills it with anything but God. You know, you can be brain dead and still be alive in your heart. But if your heart stops, you die. And it's the same spiritually. Your mind may know Bible verses, but if your heart is dead, you're lost. And in Ezekiel 36:26, it says, I will give you a new heart, and I will put a new spirit within you. Now, without that new heart, you can't enter heaven. I don't care what you do. Christianity isn't about fixing your bad habits. It's about God ripping out that dead heart and then giving you a new one that beats for him. So what you put in is what comes out. That's why God calls us to pray continually, to meditate on his word day and night, and to sing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs. You know, you scroll your phone constantly, but do you scroll the scriptures like that? We're dying spiritually because our hearts are starved of God's word. In Hosea 4:6, it says that my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge of him. So men, guard your eyes. Women, guard your imaginations. And all of us, guard our hearts. What you allow in will shape the path of your life. A righteous man doesn't speak because he's clever in the mind, but because his heart has been filled with God's truth. And that truth can't help but pour out. That's why I do these videos. So train your heart. Feed it with God's word, the Bible. God's word says that you can train your heart. Proverbs 24 verse 32 says, I saw it, I took it to heart, I looked, and I received instruction. So starve it from garbage today, because one way or another, your heart is directing your steps to life or to death. Peace.